Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to our Thursday night D&D session where we follow this party as they attempt to save the world. And they're getting on it. They having recently helped the city of Stormhaven, but would anyone like to do a recap of last week's session?
What did we do? It was the coronation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
So we had we're going for the coronation being sort of led in, and then in the middle of the temple as the ceremony was about to start, we had these sort of like priestly types start shifting their way towards us to reveal that they were assassins led by some sort of high priestly type who had a mouthful of rotting teeth. And we quickly beat them and ushered the almost queen out to safety through the town, shielding her along the way at Anand's family's house. And then I was attacked by an invisible assailant and was quickly trying to get the visage to show themselves, and then it was revealed that it was the Queen's handmaiden.
And also Slizik ruined everything.
What?
Yeah, Slizik,
I don't remember that.
and Aja broke my family's stuff, and then Anand definitely threatened to murder him.
We was bravely from an invisible sneak thief murderer.
I think I should be commended, if anything.
And then you sat down on the floor and started tearing up the couch, at which point all commendations fly out the window and you get murdered by the world.
I will need that bottle of rum replaced.
I think you can ask the princess about that, since it was her handmaiden that inspired you to throw the rum.
To be fair, she wasn't the one breaking things.
Fucking knife at my throat, man. Knife at my throat.
But, yeah, so... Yeah,
Sorry,
she was...
Oh,
yeah, go ahead. So I was just going to complete the recap. Unless someone else...
I was just curious, did we know anything about this handmaiden? Like, why she would do this? I can't remember.
Yeah, we encountered her when we met Anastasia for the first time.
Okay.
And actually only Alistair saw her, and then she was the one who gave us the rings that let us get around the castle.
Right.
And then she was also in the parade.
Yeah, I think she was just suspicious that we might have had something to do with Anastasia not making not making it to the coronation. So she was like, "Fuck you." And then
nobody knew about the assassins because they were all outside, and then we kind of took the princess and ran away. So you could see she might have gotten a little suspicious.
Yeah. And then we pulled the Uno reverse card.
Oh boy. Okay. What else?
Leave went and got Anand's mom because the high priest was all murderified, and we sneaked to the castle through a back way. What's his face did a zone of truth on some of his knights to make sure that they weren't jerks, and then we went upstairs and the princess got coronated.
Okay.
And then she was like, "Yo, dudes, we're at war. Sucks, eh?"
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, it was more elegant than that, but essentially, yes, that's what happened.
We didn't get paid, did we?
You got
Not
paid
yet,
half, but you have not been paid the rest of it.
Uh-huh.
Rest assured, that might happen this session.
And then some of us went to do stuff. Like Anand went off to do some murder / investigation / conversion with her mom.
Sure.
And I think Alistair went to try and
Rouse the locals.
rouse the proletariat or something. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Yeah, we were trying to drum up some recruits for our army we need.
He goes into the streets and shouts, "Rise up, gamers!"
Sure.
You
Got
got
a
a
big
15
old-
on the roll, so I mean, pretty good. And then I believe Slizik was going to the dock district to inquire about some of the
right.
sailors, or ask the sailors some questions. Tara was going to investigate this body of this strange man that was all weird and messed up.
So we all split up.
Yeah, well, so it was around midday, early afternoon when the coronation ended because it was slightly delayed. So there wasn't anything planned. Anna is resting for the rest of the day. And Alaric is like conducting interrogations. So they're kind of busy doing stuff.
Sure.
So you guys sort of have the rest of the day / night, as it were, to yourselves. And that's
I also still have Anna's dress.
Yeah, that will also come up. Because that is a very expensive item.
I would like to buy some new armor and shop for spells. Do you want me to just like send a message, or I don't want to take up too much time with other people's actual interesting
yeah,
stuff?
well, we can you can dictate that because and
I would just love to hear the speech you give up on your soapbox, if you could.
Oh,
Yeah, me too.
I cannot hear it.
okay. Hold on. Let me pull up the map so I can remember.
Sure.
so I think, let's see, we should be on. Yeah, we're on Abris. You guys are, all your tokens are around Stormhaven right here.
Sure.
People of this fine city, the barbarians are at your doorstep. The Norathians grow every single day. With hate in their heart, you're meat in their bellies, living off the fat of the land that you, the people, have made to make so great. Are you going to let them? Are you going to let them steal what's yours? Or are you going to fight? Are you going to fight back against this foreign horde of monstrous men with foul magics and evil in their eyes? No, I say we rise up. I say we fight. And I say we take back what's ours.
Huzzah! That was beautiful.
And it's 15.
That's entirely too good for us.
So
Not
yeah,
bad.
but that will come up later.
All right.
But you do see it. You do see a number of people. Alistair, sort of. Maybe it's the ambiance of the coronation, the sort of atmosphere, or maybe it's the alcohol, maybe it's your speech, maybe it's a combination of all three. But you do see some people reacting positively to your speech.
Hmm.
I'm happy for us. I'm happy no one added maybe it's Maybelline when he was saying all that. Proud of y'all.
I would like to. Could I get some armor as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to get like a breastplate.
You're gonna need the stretcher.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I want a breastplate.
So you're gonna need the 400 gold.
Yeah, I got that.
All right. You
I also just for flavor, it's got like all like the chiseled kind of like muscles and like.
Oh my god.
It's got like.
Oh my god.
just holding that gut though.
Yeah. Okay. It's looking pretty much exactly like this guy on the right here. If the picture wants to load, there we go.
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Does that screw up your wizard stuff, even though you took a level in cleric? Or do you just magically get to wear armor next?
Nope, proficiencies are universal.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, so the armor is a dwarven smith. He says he is of the Bronze Hand clan, and he recognizes you and thanks you for protecting the queen, and decides to give you a discount. So you only pay 375 gold.
Ah,
Nice.
fine man, a patriot if I've ever seen one. All right.
You should recruit him into forging for the army.
Might be pushing the point a little bit too far.
Okay, and the spells might take a little bit long. Do that through like direct message or something.
Yeah, you can. So the prices are going to be, I believe, I wrote them down somewhere, but they're where are they? Miscellaneous. Underneath NPCs. Sorry, on the tabs.
Yeah, the hairs on my neck just stood up. How dare you, Nathan?
So miscellaneous.
Stop it!
Miscellaneous.
Wait, don't play.
Can I not pronounce it right? Is that miscellaneous? There we go. Miscellaneous.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
My little shit just like froze right up. So if you stop hearing me, I'll be back in a moment.
So I didn't do it for each individual spell level, but those will run you about, depending on the level of the spell, like 50 to 300 gold each.
Okay. I would like to see how much rope trick costs.
Ooh.
Is this a tab I have access to?
So rope trick, they say that one's gonna run you 200 gold.
200, you say? Well, I don't suppose you could do just a small discount for some heroes of the realm.
So they look at you, like it's the. In matter of fact, it's the old man that Tara tried to steal from. He looks at you with through a long white thick beard. His spectacles sort of catch the sun's rays, and he's inspecting you more closely. And he says, "Oh, I see you are a fellow student of the arcane, so I suppose I could make it 190 gold pieces."
Good man, good man. Your appreciation for the work we do and the study of the arcane arts is not going to go unnoticed. Certainly not by the queen if we have anything to do with that. I'll take it.
And that will put me at 3 gold.
Nice.
Hey. But he does ask if he's like, so do you need any materials to copy said spell?
Do I have that? Would I have that with my scribe kit?
It's different for a wizard, I believe. You have to actually pay money.
We gotta buy the material separately.
Oh
It's the most expensive. It's the most expensive class, my boy.
That's the problem that I ran into last time. That's why I was begging everybody for gold last time.
Oh, oof, okay.
Yep.
Welcome to the best class in the game.
The wizarding world.
Every party had to go through this shit. But he sees from your expression that you have no, I suppose, extra expendable income. But he says, well, be sure to come back once you get some more funds.
Of course. I mean, merely a setback, minor setback. I shall be back, my good man.
And perhaps, maybe, I will have some interesting books of arcane studies for you to peruse yourself.
It's what I'm always looking for. Books and things of that sort. So if you have some, I'm always willing to buy them.
All right, very good. Thank you so much for your patronage.
What? No.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
You sit back.
There you go.
I think you've been studying too long there, friend.
Oh, it's been a rough day, and nearly saw the queen killed.
Oh, that's what all the commotion was about.
Oh, well, I probably shouldn't have said it. Well, I've spoken enough. Goodbye.
You're saying a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Onid has Revivify. What?
No, not yet. Anand is going to have Revivify. Once I hit spell level 3. No, I'm not that cool yet. Someday I will have Revivify.
Okay. I saw you post
no.
it, so. Okay.
Yeah, I tickied the button instead of hitting the gear thing.
So, Alistair has obtained the items he was searching for. Onid, you were helping your mother root out heresy.
Yes.
Through the
She
use.
was doing the zone of truth, and I was doing any sort of necessary murder of fun.
So, you do clear out, or rather, you do vouch for everyone in the Temple of the Light. But, and most of the clergy of Stormhaven are clean, as it were, but you do find two. It's a smaller temple, and you find two clergy folk there. The temple's dedicated to Lysandra, and they sort of they try to resist the spell, but under the Stormhaven clergy, they relent. Under questioning, they're very suspect, and under questioning, they sort of, under the power of their own truth, admit to to working with Norath and to working to promote the downfall of Stormhaven. But before you can dispense justice, they just start coughing, and then they start coughing up blood, and then it just starts pouring from all of their orifices, and they just fall over dead.
Okay, like 0 hit points dead or dead?
Like all their blood that's supposed to be inside their body is now outside their body on the floor.
Cool, so super dead.
Super dead, yeah.
Anand is going to have one of their bodies taken to the castle because seems like a good idea to have some super castle magicians look at that.
All right. If there's no magical means of conveyance, you need to find you instead enlist surfaces of a cart, like a hand cart, and you sort of like they they use in the plague. They just pile bodies on, and you put that on there and begin wheeling it towards the Castle Dauntless. Tarp or no tarp?
Tarp.
Okay.
Because ew, and people are panicky.
You are stopped by the guard. They do recognize you.
And I've got a ring of cool
Yeah, they do recognize you, but
permission.
they blanch at the idea of letting in a corpse to the castle. So they tell you to take it to the High Temple. The priests there can cast gentle repose on it, so that it can be inspected at a later time by someone qualified.
Cool, she will do that because somebody needs to look at this.
All right, that's what Onid is doing during their free time. Let's do Slizik.
I
He said he wanted to go to the docks to ask some people about some stuff.
That is indeed true. Yes, I head down to the docks. I'd like to find. I'll probably just kind of takes a minute and breathe in the tar and leather and whatever the fuck the sea smells like.
And so,
just kind of.
So this is you don't get that smell of salt that you're accompanying to. This is fresh water.
Oh
port.
man.
So it's a river, unfortunately. So
more just the smell and of the
Yeah.
the port and all the people bustling around and shit that I'm used to.
it's still a very large river, but it's you can just barely see the end of it, as it were, like the other side.
I'll try and find a man going about his business, see if they're a sailor, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. So you're not certain about what the usual workload is at Stormhaven docks, but everyone is sort of most of the people working are busy. You see sailors, dock hands, and the like of all races, and they're each sort of tending to their respective ships. You see some sort of official-looking boats, maybe. You might recognize them. In fact, yeah, you would because you're a sailor, as part of a navy. They're bearing Stormhaven colors. They're all of similar construction, make, and they're crewed by individuals with uniforms. So very fancy and official. And they're sort of given a little bit of birth, but you sort of try to mingle in, I'm assuming, with people more like yourself.
Just pretty much, yeah, sure. I'll try and find someone a little shifty looking.
Yeah, so, well, there are people working and you're sort of like in the way, as it is now, because you're a very large individual just standing in the middle of the dock. And,
Why?
There's an individual carrying a crate, and he almost bumps into you because he's walking backwards. But he says, "Oh, I watch where you're going, yeah?"
Ahoy there, sailor. You mind sparing a moment for a fellow sailor who needs some information and would be willing to pay for it?
And so when you say he seemed dubious at first when you mentioned willing to pay for it, he gets his eyes, that glint in his eyes, and he says,
I'll jingle my.
he says, I might be willing to listen for a bit.
I'll flip him one gold coin and I'll say, if you have some valuable information, there's more coming. I'll ask. I'll pull out my my special coin, like my my black one, and I'll kind of do my my coin flip, and I'm imagining it comes up skulls, and I'll just show it to him. Does this look familiar to you, sailor?
He sort of looks at the coin. He says, "Can't say it does. It's
Hmm.
I mean, coin that black can't have much value, can it?
You'd be surprised, but have you ever heard of a boat called the Storm Cursed? A ship, rather.
He says storm cursed. Storm cursed. Storm cursed. Oh yes! I've heard some people talk about that. That lot? Pirates! They were.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I was just curious, have you heard any mention of where perhaps they might be, where they were last seen?
Well, I can tell you for one thing, not in these waters. I heard about them from one of my mates in Rydal.
Hmm.
He said they were in town for a bit, causing some trouble.
In Rydal, you said?
Yes.
Hmm.
That was a while back.
Interesting.
I don't know if they're still there. Common port for pirates and the like is also Medina, of course, but any sailor knows that.
Aye.
But we don't get many pirates up here around Stormhaven. If their boats can even... okay, sorry, he wouldn't say boats, he would say ships. If their ships can even handle... if their ships can even handle river waters, the main advantage of pirate ships is their maneuverability, and that's severely dampened in a river environment. No matter where they run, they're usually always within spell casting range. So
You don't have to tell me twice.
They tend to not attack Stormhaven ships, especially when they're under heavy escort from our navy. After all, mithril is very valuable.
Aye. Well, thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it. I'll throw him another 4 gold, so he gets 5 total.
Damn. Alright, he catches them. And if he had a hat, he would tip it, but he had like a bandana on. So,
Sure.
But he goes back to picking up the crate and moving it back to his ship.
I'll probably try and see after that if Aja is drinking somewhere nearby and join her if she is.
Aja, are you drinking somewhere nearby?
Well, I'm drinking.
Like in a fucking
I mean,
alley
when are you
somewhere.
not? But like, there are many options and places and types.
I think about midway through my water skin, I would start considering going back to the temple just to see if I remembered it exactly as it happened. So I'm going to be kind of carousing in that area.
Alright.
All right.
Alright,
In that
so
case, I'll just head to like a tavern, find like the hardest dudes I can see, and start up a card game or dice game or some shit.
alright, yeah.
And yeah, that's my thing.
So you do find a sort of bar by the docks, catering to sailors on shore leave, and you get into some rousing games of dice and cards. Aja, you go back to the temple and you see a number of things happen. You see Anid sort of walking up with this hand cart. Inside of it is a body. Just the feet are sticking out. And she's carrying it up to the temple. You sort of exchange looks with each other.
Anand is just like, found another one. Well, 2. But I thought we only needed to bring 1 back.
So I was just going to look at her and be like, you got to hide that shit better. I mean, it's right here out in the open. You're carting it around.
Well, it's... The dude is under a tarp. So, I mean, like, yeah, she's got a cart with a body in it, but nobody can see anything except his boots, which are not...
I mean, it's kind of suspicious.
Well, I mean...
Hey, look, there's something body-shaped under that
Corpses.
tarp with the little legs sticking out.
Yeah, but that's corpses.
Yeah.
That's just what you do.
Yeah, sure.
Haven't you ever carried a dead body before?
not in a cart.
Why are you bringing it here?
So that they can study it. When come inside first off. We shouldn't be having this conversation in the street. So Anand's gonna try to go into the temple. I don't know how that's gonna go for her, but she's gonna try.
So, a young-looking man rushes up to you as you sort of try to, as you open the temple doors, and say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but the temple of the aspects in the one is currently closed, due to," and then he sort of recognizes, "Oh, apologies, apologies, apologies. I didn't recognize you at first."
Oh, that's quite all right. I've brought you another. We found two more betrayers in a different temple, and this is one of them. In when they were put into a zone of truth and were about to confess, um, suddenly a rather terrible. Let's just say that most of their blood is no longer in their body, and we should probably find out who did that.
Oh yes, as grisly as that may sound, that seems to match up with what we have currently.
So I brought you a further specimen. I need to be getting back to my mother to continue to assist her in uh, checking the rest of the temples. The temples of Solara are all clear. We've moved on now.
Well, that's good to hear. We'll get some people on it, and you see some like maybe attendants sort of. They don't bring the cart into the temple. They like have their own. That's like very clean. Um, it's immediately sullied by the dead body, but they sort of wheel it into a side room. And looking inside, you can see that there are like tables there, and on each of one there's a body. And standing over each body is a priest, and they seem to be channeling some sort of magic. Because they're very concentrated. You see like this. They're concentrating very hard. You can see on their faces. And in there you see a familiar face. But I don't know if she's back yet, but you see Tara in there.
Can we tell what kind of magic they're using?
You make an Arcana check. Okay, Onid. How do you always have a +1?
Because my intelligence is not high. My charisma is.
Oh,
I'm
you're
a
not
charisma-
proficient in Arcana. Okay, yeah.
No, I'm not proficient in Arcana.
Okay, I get that. Okay. So Aja, you know that they're casting a divine base magic. I forgot the school, but it's Gentle Repose, which allows a body to stay fresh, as it were. It doesn't decay, and also cannot be turned into an undead. But it is strange. It's usually a one and done thing. It's strange that they're channeling this spell.
Is that like a magical embalming process?
That you're not sure. Sorry, I don't know. That's what it is. That's what you would know.
So I'm going to approach the nearest one and start asking questions.
So as you sort of approach, the individual voices, I ask you, please be very quiet, as it requires a lot of concentration to channel the spell. It's not normally something that you do channel, so it is taking quite a lot of the priest's concentration.
Does it take concentration, though?
Not in this case, yes, but not normally.
How is it different?
But it's very strange. Usually you cast a spell on a body or a corpse to prevent decay and to sort of ward it from the necromantic magics. However, these bodies are very strange. They are already maybe it's a preventative measure to prevent us from extracting more information from the bodies, but after they die, they begin to rapidly decay. And so the only way to counteract that is to constantly channel the spell. We learned that the hard way when we tried to examine some of these bodies, and they were going to emulsify during the autopsy. Well, I'm sorry, liquefy would probably be the better term there.
Have you been able to do a necromancy, or have you been able to do an autopsy since you've started using this magic?
Well, we are stretched quite thin, as you would imagine. A number of us are still under questioning to determine our allegiances. And so, as such, we don't have any of our sort of more senior clergy. They are also under high scrutiny due to the death of the head priest. May the aspects rest his soul, Delan Pirani. He is also here too, or his corpse rather. But luckily we were able to prevent that from decaying, thanks to the quick thinking of some priests.
I think I might know someone who might be able to help. I'm going to turn around and start to head back out the door, but then I'm going to stumble into Anand.
Oh, she just DC'd, I think.
Oh, did she leave?
Yeah, looks like it. She's still in roll 20, but she might have Discord issues at the moment. There she is.
You're back.
Yeah, my Discord just crashed on me, so now I'm on my phone until it uncrashes.
Okay. So Aja's asking for your help in examining these corpses.
Oh, no, I was going to go get Alistair, but I stumbled into Anand instead.
Well, Anand, so Anand and her mother went through all of the priests from Solara. So,
I'm back.
so she's not a cleric. She's only going to be of limited help here, but she knows a bunch of clerics, and all of those ones are clear. So Anand can, and she was going to head back to find her mother anyway. So she will offer to send some of the already vetted clerics from Solara over.
Alright, so Targus, catch up to speed. Anid was rooting out heresy in the Temple of Light and other surrounding temples. They found two spies, Nerathian spies as it were, posing as members of the clergy, more specifically in Lyssandra's temple. While under questioning, they committed suicide. they just started bleeding all over, and they sort of convulsed and fell over dead. Onin brought one of the bodies to the High Temple. Due to the recommendations of some guards there, the priest can cast gentle repose on the corpse until it can be examined by a senior member of the clergy. But you were already there, and so Onid and Aja are there as well, having this sort of conversation next to you. You're in a side room in the High Temple. There's a number of sort of tables set up, sort of makeshift like slabs, and on top of each is a different body. Over each body, about 10 in total. You see a priest concentrating, sweat on the brow. Occasionally, a Jundit will come by and just like give them the old the mop on the brow to get the sweat out from their eyes. But they're concentrating on channeling the spell, which Aja identified as the gentle repose, which is strange because she rolled high enough to realize that you generally don't concentrate on that spell. It's sort of a one and done thing. And the adjutants there explained that the bodies are already in the process of decaying very rapidly, so much so that if they don't channel the spell and continuously apply it, they will just turn into liquid immediately.
So after running into Anand, Aja's going to remember that she knows message, and so she's going to send a message out to Alistair.
Gotta be 120 feet.
I'll say for the purposes of this, you got it.
Okay.
Just to speed things along. Unless you want her to walk down to Castle Dauntless, be like, Alistair, I need your help.
I'll pop on. What's this? What's this about?
You might want to get back to the temple. There's a bunch of guys, and they're casting gentle repose on a bunch of corpses, and they need someone to conduct an autopsy.
Well, it's not exactly my line of work, but I've taken a few classes.
Quick, somebody get Croaker.
Hmm.
All right, so I'll head on over there.
And then can I send a message to Slizik too?
Yeah, so Slizik is like, there's a lot of static on his end, as it were. Like it's not coming in clear like with Alistair. He is. You've been drinking. You're getting day drunk, Slizik. Okay.
Sure.
Can I send a different message to Slizik?
Yeah, sure. You can comprise it however you want it to be.
So,
Party at the temple.
Okay, so that's
Let's
one.
go
What's the other?
desecrate some statues. Yeah.
Party at the temple.
Fondle the statuary.
All right, gentlemen. Looks like I have to cash out. Got some partying to do at a temple. I'll just fucking start heading up there.
All right. Well, if we're all casting message, Anand will cast message to her mother that they need cleric assistance at the high.
if Tara would have been there earlier, she actually intended to go do sort of like an autopsy on that funky guy. So I'm not sure how you'd want to handle that.
Fight over the body. You and Alistair fight, forget who gets to do the autopsy. I vote.
So the message you get back from Torin, your mother, is that was obviously it's a very tired response because like you, she has been up sort of continuously casting Zone of Truth. It's very taxing on her, and she's just been up sort of a long time doing this. Just sort of the rush of emotions, the roller coaster of emotions, rather, for this whole day. And so she says, well, it'll take some time to recall the priests they have out at the various temples in order to send one over. But they can get one over there in maybe a couple hours or so.
All right. And she will relay that to the guy that they're talking to, the priesty guy, that that they'll have some help in a few hours to relieve some of these also very tired people. And then she'll ask her mother if she wants her to come back or if she should stay for this autopsy.
Don't recommend that you stay because you might be able to learn something about these individuals.
Cool. She will just then tell her mother to not overtax herself, even though she knows she's gonna anyway, and get some popcorn, metaphorically.
I make my entrance. I kick down the door.
So everyone, I'll just say for the sake of brevity, everyone is now in the High Temple, the Temple of the Aspects, and the One, in this sort of side room where all these bodies are. Slizik is still looking for where the party's at.
I enter. I make the party is with me, my friend.
It's a 30-foot aura around you. The party is over.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it says. I kick down the door to this sacred temple.
You cannot kick down this door.
I kick down the door, Nathan.
It is.
It's like 3 feet of mithril, my dude.
I'm so strong. Look at my muscles.
It is several stories tall, as well as comprised of solid mithril. So.
Look
I
at my
don't
fantasy
think
muscles.
You can kick it. It also doesn't open that way. It opens out.
God damn it! It's the worst temple. What kind of party is this? I kick with my foot because I have an arm load of alcohol, so I guess I knock with my foot. And once they let me in, I'm going to use my lightning breath up into the sky and yell, "It's party time!" and start slamming liquor. Because now I'm annoyed that door didn't fucking open for me.
So, and sort of a junior member of the priesthood will come over, and she says, "What are you doing?
What's your poison there? Moonshine? Ale? I got it all."
We cure poison here at the temple. We don't endorse it. Get out of
so
here.
You can just get drunk for a little bit. You can get day drunk and still be good for it. Come on.
Get out of here.
Is going to stick her head out the door and just be like, and like kind of pinching her nose, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's with us."
I'm quite drunk at this point.
I'd
say.
She seems relieved that someone else will take responsibility for this large dragonborn man, and she's just like, "Well, just make sure he's quiet and doesn't hurt anyone or destroy anything."
Oh, it's a themed party. I get it. Okay.
And she gives an exasperated sigh and just heads off to continue her duties.
Auden, what are you drinking? Whiskey?
We're not drinking. We are watching an autopsy.
He kind of looks confused for a moment. You guys party a lot different on land than we do at sea.
This is
Aja will offer a little bit of her water skin, knowing it's kind of dangerous to do so with Slizik and his...
I imagine he starts to slam it, but sees a look on your face, and then just kind of sheepishly hands it back. And as I try and grab your flask, I let about 4 bottles of something fall and crash to the ground, because my arms are full of liquor.
Oh, man. So, it is very clinical in this room. It smells like,
sure.
like alcohol and anesthetic already, but this is has flavored alcohol, as it were. It's not the kind you would use to disinfect. I guess I suppose you can, but generally it's the kind you imbibe instead.
Yeah.
But so it begins to, that smell of spilt alcohol begins to permeate the room. And
so much prestidigitation.
Yeah, and you see the priests their nose begin to crinkle, and they're like, but you, due to prestidigitation, you managed to cover up the smell. Wow.
I can actually clean up the floor.
Right, so you can begin to clean and also remove the smell with the smell with prestidigitation.
Yes.
Aja, this party sucks.
All right, so I'll step up and... Okay, what are we dealing with here? Roll up my sleeves.
And Tara is also here with her sleeves rolled up as well.
Scalpel.
You just stare at each other.
Anand is like leaning against the wall with her arms folded across her chest, just like, why do I hang out with these people?
I
Seriously.
want to cut off one of the fingers from one of the corpses and have it turn into liquid.
All right.
Double.
Are you
which
doing
one?
that over a flask, or are you just gonna let that shit splatter on the floor? Because that's
No,
gross.
I'm gonna cut the finger off and then shove it into a flask.
Okay. So of which corpse do you do this?
We have a selection now.
I mean, so I believe you said the one you were interested in was the high priest, but they're also you recognize they're sort of they just have like the cloth covering their bits, as it were. So they're devoid of sort of vestments that would identify them as such. But just based on their build, you see some very well-built individuals, as well as some not so well-built, maybe members of or former members of the guard, or and clergy, respectively. Just based on how impersonating a person would work and spying in general, your knowledge of that. So you have a number of choices here.
I'll start with the high priest.
Okay. So the high priest, you can sort of see like this individual, the high priest, actually has two priests standing over him, and they're sort of both casting the spell on him. It's sort of like it's represented as sort of like a gentle light that's sort of enveloping the body. And when they're much too busy concentrating on the spell to notice you sort of approach, and you cuff a finger, and as soon as you remove it from this golden light, it just begins to decay in front of you. Almost in this one, you can't even put it into the flask before it's just like putrid, disgusting liquid in your hand. Even the bones have sort of decayed.
Well, I mean, if I stuck the finger into the flask and then cut it off.
Oh, that was your plan.
Right. Because I imagined, like, as soon as I moved it, it would just...
Well, yes, and it begins to, as soon as it is removed from the light, that's what occurs, and there's this like black, vile, putrid liquid inside this flask now. It's dark. It smells real bad, and yeah.
Do I pick anything up with the passive investigation?
No, this is like you would need to examine these bodies. You know that you would know that that's not right, but other than that, you need to like examine these bodies closely.
I want to take a look at like the way the body like wants to decompose. I want to like know if like what kind of spell work, what kind of spellcraft would sort of ensure that happens on death. Like what
okay.
spell would I?
So Arcana check.
All right, 25.
Okay. Are you rolling your own dice? 'Cause I'm not seeing it here. Ooh.
Lost connection to the server.
Oh. Still working for me.
I'm just reloading mine in case I can see it.
Yeah, reload it.
I mean, I believe you. So, what you get from the 25 is How it's decomposing so rapidly is, I said, not natural. That is obvious to anyone who's ever been around death. But this is very strange. It's almost, you've read about this in a book once.
It went through.
It was in the sort of forbidden lore section of your university. Available only to sort of senior tenure professors. Mainly dealing with the art of necromancy. When a creature is revived, or revived to a state of undeath, it naturally wants to sort of not be like that. State of undeath is unnatural. It wants to return to its natural state of normally decomposing, that sort of thing. It's only through the use of unholy magics that it is animated, moving around, even without the blood pumping in its body, the muscles sort of contracting, that sort of thing. And so that bodies tend to wear down when they are zombified, as it were, quickly, even more quickly than normal decomposition. And it's only through use of magic that they have any semblance of form or function. But when that magic is removed, they begin to rapidly decompose, to sort of catch up, as it were, to what they would be, if that makes sense.
So one more time. So they're being prolonged, like they're being like prolonged with energy, like stopping them from decomposing until they die, which it will suddenly all happen at once. Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, they're undead and have been undead for a while, and now that they're extra dead, they're super duper dead.
So, are you saying this in character?
Yeah,
No, that was me out of character trying to clarify.
So what you get from this, Alistair, is this: you haven't heard of someone casting or animating the dead and it having its own will, as this person or individual seemed to, because he led on in prayer. Like, higher functions are just straight out once you animate dead. It's just like it's like essentially a puppet, and you're moving the strings, as it were. But for it to still possess higher functions, for it to be able to talk, speak, disguise itself, even use spells, is something you've never heard of. Have reason, its own sort of reason. You've never heard something like this before.
Stop saying. Well, I've heard of this sort of magic only through the most forbidden and arcane and old. That's disgusting.
Okay, make a con save, Slizzick.
Drink that guy's finger. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you have felt the situation before, but it passes over you. So two things happen. You do throw up. That's guaranteed. But then you get, along with that, as you sort of expel what you just drank, goes with a sensation of because you feel this constantly on your person, you feel the presence, the weight of a curse on your person. There's just something,
Shit.
there's something you have on you. That feeling, you feel that again, like even heavier weight pressed down on you, but that is expelled when you throw up.
Ooh.
Well, first of all, I want to apologize, but I also want to apologize a second time because I was muted ever since I posted that post in chat. I had to do something in real life real quick. What did I miss?
So some weird magic has animated these, at least the high priest. Because it sort of seems to be a sort of high-functioning undead. You're not sure about the other people. You haven't really examined those bodies yet. Slizik threw up what he drank, and he had some other feelings along with that, but he has not revealed it to the party, so you guys don't really know.
I was about to, I'd say, was that actually Elven Absinthe? Because I had kind of a funk up.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
this
God.
was certainly a lesson that maybe not every time you should be putting things in your mouth, Slizik.
What was that?
Corpse juice.
Jesus.
Fresh from the source.
That was, yes. That
It's the best if you don't know.
Oh my fucking God, I hate my life. Oh, Jesus. There was something in
That
that.
was some guy's finger, okay?
Oh, God.
not just some guy's finger. That was
You lose 3
dead
health, too.
high priest's finger.
You feel like it's three necrotic damage to you.
Oh, God.
And where that came from was this, what appears to be some very, very old and secluded magics indeed. It appears to have it appears that this sort of necromantic energy has brought some corpse back to some sort of unlife, either that or prolonged someone's life past the point of where they should have died long ago.
Yeah.
I don't. It seems that these creatures should have died a very long time. There's some kind of powerful magics that are keeping them from rotting away.
I can say with absolute certainty that it's cursed somehow.
Do I know that they're like undead? Like
make a perception check.
Okay.
I got kind of a cursed vibe when it came back up.
This is an old high check. So, when just looking around, you remember that the high priest looked very he looked, just his outward appearance when he dropped the spell that was disguising him was very different than the assassins in the temple, and it's very different than the rest of the bodies that are present here. His features are sort of, even with gentle repose and everything, his features are, even now you can see that his face is sort of sunken in, his eyes are like rotting away. Even under the effects of 2 of these priests casting gentle repose, you see his body is still decomposing just very, very slowly. The rest of the bodies don't look like that. They look more or less like a fresh corpse.
Okay, question. Is that actually the high priest? Like, or is it because
no, he was wearing a
Anand...
disguise. We just call him that, I think.
Didn't taste like
that.
one.
You're not certain. They haven't found. They will say we haven't found. If it is, the general will say, well, if it is not the high priest, if I'm assuming his form, we have not found the real body. But from
Well, here's a logical deduction. If this guy's been undead for so long past the point of preservation, unless the high priest was hiding in Stormhaven for all those years as an undead, chances are this is just a guy who replaced him after he was dispatched. Like, otherwise, it doesn't really make sense.
Did you say that it was that it was from an old book? Like in an old, like in the forbidden section?
So you have heard. You don't know what spell they're using, because the book is just referring to the book that you read refers to the magics you do know about, like animate dead, raise dead, that sort of thing. But it does. There's like in the sort of in the appendix or like in the side notes, as it were, it does mention that there are sort of lost spells that, but it doesn't mention what they are exactly.
Might be able to. Can I see if there's anything in like my knowledge of like past empires or old kind of like in my. It's definitely like a hobby. It's like looking into ancient kind of works and stuff. Is it any like past empires that have used this sort of?
This, yeah, you're not certain. Maybe due to your memories being messed up, you can't recall, or the fact that necromancy is sort of a taboo magic, with the exception of like revivify and those sort of spells. But definitely, like making undead is very bad, at least to these people's logic and sort of common sense, and so. They generally don't keep knowledge of those sort of spells around. In fact, the book you found concerning necromancy in the library was a rarity. It was the only one of its kind concerning that subject matter you found. And like I said, it was in the deep recesses of the library, only accessible to senior members, the most senior members. But it's very. This whole situation is very weird. The agenda will say, well, if it, I don't know how all these strange, unclean spells work, but, I mean, this individual, if he did pose as, the high priest, he was able to fool quite many members of the clergy, just on his mannerisms, how he spoke, on the things he recalled, that sort of thing.
Now, you do have the detecting evil and good.
Yes, members of the priesthood can cast such a spell. I myself know how to.
What? No one did that. I assume they haven't. I was just wondering if they had some kind of means to pass such a system, but perhaps that ought to start to be used as a general precaution for anyone entering into temples.
We can keep it under consideration, but generally speaking, there is no need to. The sanctified nature of this temple would, generally speaking, not allow anything unholy to pass into it. Like I said, it's very strange.
Maybe we should start assigning such priests and clerics alongside onto missions and such, just to be sure, just to have them accompany important either members of state or what have you.
Is this evil? Like, did someone check? Or are we assuming that as it is necromancy?
They are assuming as it's necromancy, yes. They, like I said, no one presently has cast it.
Well, evil, like technically detect evil and good doesn't actually detect actual evil. It just detects like types of monsters.
Who are who are
is,
inherently like evil, like undead, fiends, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but like it wouldn't. I assume that these people, the non-priests, are just like humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they wouldn't show up, but this guy would.
So, yeah, this the High Priest definitely looks very different than all the other corpses here.
And this one else has any sort of insight to the situation? It's about all I know.
I got nothing.
Is there any religious symbols on them at all?
No, you don't see any.
Okay.
Slizik did just mention a curse.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I'm an expert in curses too. That was definitely cursed. That finger. Oh god.
Is there a way? Is someone able to check to determine what type of curse it may have been?
I may, but I don't know how I do that without actually doing it myself. I'd be willing to try if I might benefit from a bless spell or some other such a boost like that.
I think you're the only one that can cast Bless.
Well, we're in a temple, aren't we?
Yeah, so what a priest will do, let's see. Alright. So they will cast protection from evil and good on you. And you have advantage on the saving throw if you are trying to eat more of this body.
Okay.
Man. It's
All
still
right.
it's gonna be a con
What?
save again.
I'll say again, like,
Okay. Does anyone also have bless? Am I reaching a little too far here? Anyone also able to cast bless?
They're like okay. So the same priest will say, "Oh, I
well,
don't."
it can't be the same priest. He's concentration spell.
Oh, they're both okay. So another one like we have things to do. I suppose. What are you planning on doing with loaded with all these holy spells?
Okay, this may be a little bit strange, but our friend here, after ingesting and testing for this this body for curses, did indeed find one, and I thought it maybe with my expertise in such matters in arcane pursuits, then perhaps I should actually be the one to test it myself. Now I'm a pretty hearty individual. I'll slap my belly. But certainly a little help from the divine wouldn't hurt.
I say they're just like they're so confused by this bizarre situation that maybe the aspects keep you safe. They're just like they don't even know what they're hearing anymore.
Okay. So that's
Okay, so this is very important. How much of this corpse do you consume?
oh god. I'll just do about what Slizik did, just like a little taste.
Okay.
Imagine hearing that out of context.
So, do you use the same material and the same method of extracting a body part as Tara did?
Yes, I'll just try to copy what she did and basically what Slizik did.
Alistair, don't do it. It's so bad. Oh.
And
I'll like hold my nose, press like the taste of fucking caramel on my tongue instead.
Sure.
And I'll down the concoction.
The taste does not help. Make a Constitution save. You have an advantage plus a D4. You do not want to fail this save.
I really want him to. It'll be so funny.
It's 14.
Yes!
No, hold on. I still got a D4. You got a 15.
Damn it!
So. But I'll roll the D4 regardless.
it.
So
I want to analyze the entire process, everything in my brain about curses and their
I
origins.
so wanted us both to just be vomiting everywhere in this
So you do,
temple.
nevertheless,
I will.
you do throw up still. That always
Yes.
happens.
That's the curse.
And you do feel this like sickly sort of feeling. And then you also feel a tingling in like your extremities. And you swear as you sort of you're looking at them, they almost looked blackened, but they, like your fingertips, but they're beginning to return to their normal color.
Okay. So
Oh.
blackened extremities, tingling in my stomach, tingling extremities. I still take.
Yeah, you still take some damage too.
Do his extremities look blackened to us?
Oh boy.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So it happened very quickly. And so sort of he was sort of ready for it, but I'll allow people with high passive perception to see it.
I'm not. No.
I mean,
What was it?
Tara, it'd be a 15.
15.
So
Big
if
old
you have
9.
15 passive, you can see that. In fact, you're able to infer, most people that could see it, that you would notice that the high priest's skin has already lost its color. It's a gray color, but when you cut off the finger, it turns black very quickly, and then it begins to sort of liquefy after that. And that sort of you felt and saw that on your person, Alistair, just for the briefest of moments.
okay. Any idea like what origin of this curse might be? Besides, like necromantic.
Yeah. So, you're not well versed in curses, but you've read about some.
Not curse first.
This seems to. Let me redact so to explain further what you experienced before. I'm sorry about this. This is just to clarify. So casting Animate Dead on something sort of removes their higher functions. This individual definitely didn't have that. It seemed to be he was fully aware, cognizant, functional as an individual, but he was very clearly still like dead, as it were, decomposing. Just based on once the disguised self fell. That's what you saw. As far as this curse goes, you're not certain, but do an Arcana check.
Okay. Wait. Advantage up. 26.
Okay, so this might be. A sort of you've heard people place curses on others, like if they want to prevent knowledge from leaking out. In fact, based on what Onid has described to you about the other corpses, this might be what was on them. If they try to reveal sensitive information and or are forced to, they sort of self-destruct, as it were, and then the body begins decaying rapidly. It also might be the case if they're defeated in battle, that this might also occur as well, and that might be the case here.
Wait, so okay, one more time. If they're defeated in battle, this might take place. So, like, essentially, this is like a bomb.
Yeah, it's like a failsafe. So it's essentially like this message will self-destruct in 30 seconds, sort of thing. Like, they don't want you learning any more about their goings-on. Like, for example, they don't want you to, if you were privy to such spells, they don't want you to cast Speak with Dead on these people. They don't want you to examine them magically. They don't want you to do anything like that. So they want the corpses to essentially disappear. They don't want you to revive them. And so these are to prevent all the means of communicating or reviving the dead from occurring.
Okay.
And you think that the reason this the high priest is decomposing so rapidly is he has two of these effects placed on him, and they're like helping each other, is why he's decomposing, whereas a normal individuals only have one curse on them, as it were. Like, they're clearly not undead like he is.
So I will just
Shakily to my feet. I've learned some things. Okay.
Well, that's good.
That's a double curse right there.
The old double curse.
Yes, very big. He's got some sort. First, he's got a sort of cause him to rapidly decay. Like this is some sort of means of not recovering the body or learning anything about it. They certainly, I almost am certain they did not expect these fine fellows to be able to focus their divine energies and prevent this from happening. Secondly, there's a bit of a explosion of this energy that's meant to cause this painful, damaging effect that me and Slizik have just felt. But thankfully, we're both pretty hardy ourselves.
Yeah.
So I imagine it could have been a lot worse. So I would expect more of this. And in the future, should we face more of these types of fellows, try and keep the killing blow at a distance.
To be clear, the damage wasn't from he wasn't a time bomb, as it were. He doesn't explode and do damage. You were consuming an undead flesh, which is like poisonous. That's where the damage was coming from. I'm sorry if I explained that poorly, but essentially the high priest is his state of being is undead. He also has this curse placed upon him, so that's why he's decaying so rapidly. The other ones are, as far as you can tell, still humanoid, and they just have this curse on them. At least that's what you can derive from your Arcana check.
Okay. Okay, but they will kind of.
So they are decaying, but like I can see this priest, the head priest has like 2 boys over him constantly applying that, and even with that, you can see he's still decaying.
Sure.
These other ones only have 1 priest, and you can see they're more or less like a fresh corpse. Like their color has drained, obviously, but other than that, it looks like you would see on those cop procedural shows where they like are in the morgue. It's just like it's that sort of fresh / clean. Like he's literally, you can see him slowly decomposing before your eyes, even with dual gentle repose being cast upon him.
Why on earth would Norath sink to such low depths? This foul magic.
Did we have I heard anything something that might have been a precursor to them just invading, or was it just kind of out of the blue?
So, let me see.
In my travels, like any gripes
I'm
with
trying to see.
anyone?
I'm trying to see what you would have heard. Let's see your background here.
Oh boy, good luck.
Bad reputation. Okay, so that wouldn't really help you. But you notice you've been around. You've been around the Emerald Coast before. In North, especially the Norathians, has always been sort of ball busters, as it were.
Okay.
Very strict, like conforming to the rules. They're sort of absolute monarchy. They are ruled by the Straya family. The current king is, I believe, Victor, but let me make sure. Where would that be? Yeah, Straya family, Victor Straya. And you've heard that a lot of as recently the trade around North is sort of dried up, as it were. Like, it wasn't ships bound for Norath were becoming so infrequent they were no longer like a target on your radar, as it were.
Sure. Okay. Oh, they've always been dicks.
But you definitely have never heard them use, necromancy or anything like that.
Do we, can we say with certainty that it was them? I mean, it's most likely, but...
I mean, it's inference, but there's no identifying marks on them to be like, here lies a spy of Norath. So
Yeah,
you don't really have that information, but they would definitely have the most to gain if they are like invading other city-states from a disorganized Stormhaven.
Yeah, for sure.
There may even be some sort of shadowy group that's merely using people. I mean, with this sort of magic, I don't necessarily see it as the work of some sort of ruffian upstarts. This could be something more sinister than that.
Do we know? Have we heard any rumors of such a group or anything? Like,
no. If there are, this is conjecture on Alistair's part. But if there are, you haven't heard them.
Does anyone of you magic folks, is there a way of tracing this or tracing it to the source?
Not this specifically. I'm certainly not sort of magic that we're capable of producing.
Oh, damn. Would Alaric maybe know something about this?
It's worth asking.
I suppose head to the palace then. Unless we have some more questions for these folks.
No, I'm about tapped out.
I will, sadly, and somewhat... Yeah, sadly, I think does it. I'll gather up what liquor I have remaining.
The adjutants and the clergy who are not busy concentrating on spells seem relieved that Silizic is leaving.
Wow.
You don't need an insight check for that.
See, I always know where the good parties are at.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Please chewing on corpses.
I do like the phrase, "Did you just drink that guy's finger?" I like that a lot.
We could have like a Twitter account full of like D&D quotes out of context. It would be
Yeah.
We have that in our other channel.
Yeah, we do.
I can put it up though.
Notable
This one.
quotables.
But yeah, so it's getting pretty late. You guys have it's definitely in the evening time now. You guys have taken quite a long time to examine these bodies. So I think the plan is for you to head back to the castle, correct?
I mean, unless someone else has something to do, that's where I'm headed.
It seemed, yeah.
No, I don't think I haven't read this.
Okay, you trying to rob a shopkeeper?
Are you judging me?
I mean, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
I did what I had to protect Princess.
But you guys head back to Castle Dauntless, and you are welcomed inside. And there is a dinner laid out for you already. The alcoholic beverages, unlike last time, are severely cut back. There is a great selection, but the quantity is severely reduced, perhaps to prevent a rehash of last night's sort of escapades by certain members of the party.
It's a good thing I brought my own.
fucking cheaper.
Yeah, come on,
But
man.
there's still plenty of good food to eat.
I love how we have like two drunkards that like just enable each other. It's great.
Oh yeah. I'm sitting down for some grub.
There are quite a selection of quite a nice selection of cheeses, as per your request, Slizik. They have not forgotten, and they prepared a cheese board, a fancy version of it.
I start eating as fast as I can, like someone's gonna take it away from me.
I'm gonna hoist some of it into
Damn
my
it.
bag so that
Yeah, you got that mage hand. You can't stop that shit.
I have this idea in my mind that I can classically condition Slizzy.
But there's cheeses with like you see white, you see yellow, you see some with like very some heady aromas. You see some with nuts in them. Like there's a bunch of different types of cheeses here.
I'm eating it all. I'm making a fondue in my mouth.
That's the worst.
That sounds.
What?
And
then I put. Oh god. You're right. That was the worst.
But there's
quote.
Quote out of context.
I'm making a fondue in my mouth, and we what was the
Please,
other
it was mouth with an F. My Dragonborn mouth. Oh, there's a shit ton of channels in this one.
And it was also you just drank that guy's finger.
Did you just drink that guy's finger? Yes. Oh boy, yeah, I fucking cheese out.
Well, Nathan had a good quote too. This is very important. How much of this corpse do you consume?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I cheese out, which is when you eat too much cheese and blackout.
If he blacks out, can I steal his alcohol?
No. Oh, god damn it.
Just having various glazed meats and
There's glazed hams. There's a roast pheasant, that sort of thing. There's a Last night there was a full sort of pig, but there's not that this time around. It's different fare, as it were. But
As an aside, I ate bear ham today, and it was pretty much the worst.
yeah, bear meat's very
Yep, it's terrible.
pungent. You gotta cook it a certain way to get rid of the smell.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
How do you procure bear meat? Like,
A hunter brings it into your shop and then asks for hams and sausage and pepperoni. Or not sausage. You made fucking bear bacon, dude. It was fucking gross. Like, we cured it. We let it we did an osmosis cure for 7 days, and it was fucking terrible, dude. It's awful. It's the worst meat ever. Seriously. Anyways, yeah, just picture bear bacon. It's fucking disgusting.
Well, there's definitely not that here.
Well, you can't you can only do it custom. You can't buy it over the counter. Like, you can't sell bear bacon.
Yeah, because it would make people throw up if you don't cook it right.
It's already cooked and cured, so it's technically it's fine. It's just not appetizing. It's pretty bad.
But yeah, so
Is it worth the finger?
it probably tastes better than an undead finger. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
But
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I think I gotta restart my computer really quickly.
Okay. Well, we're just
Godspeed.
sort of finishing up the night, but hopefully when you come back, we'll be in the morning where things will pick up.
Alrighty.
See you in a moment.
And so you guys are eating this food, enjoying some good drink, and then afterwards you are once again asked, or shown to your rooms, asked if you would like to bathe before you retire for the night. And if none of you partake, I'll just have you sort of go to bed and wake up in the morning. Or if there's something else you guys want to do or RP, feel free to do so.
I got nothing myself. I'll make some more vests out of the fine clothes they gave me.
So they have learned their lesson, and they have not given
God
you no
damn
fine
it!
clothes, and there's no longer a change of linens in there as well.
Oh, man.
It's very in fact they've taken out most of the decoration as well too. So it's very sparse, very Spartan now. Like everything that's in there is attached to the floor or walls or ceiling. It's bolted down or just part of the structure to begin with.
It's much homier. Is the window still broken?
The window has been repaired.
That's all for me.
In the middle of the night, I want to sneak over to Slizik's room and
Jesus.
Alright, so once again, there's nothing in his room. There's a dresser that is empty, and there's a slab where the bed would go, but the bed, the actual bed part has been removed.
It's okay, we'll go somewhere else and wreak havoc.
And that's pretty much, and there's also a table in there, but the table's part of the wall/floor. So that's it. That's all you got in there.
Yeah, we go rage.
Alright, so where do you guys go?
What's up?
Where do you go? You're keeping this party going. Where do you guys go?
So I was just gonna say, we owe Anand another vase. We have to go find one.
Oh, you're so right. Is there a vase shop open?
You're not
I don't think
sure?
So.
You've seen just around that most of the shops do close around 8 p.m.
Is there a black market we can go find?
That
black
you
vase
don't
market.
know.
Oh, this sounds like an adventure.
She'll be so happy when she wakes up.
Oh, that's so
I will
true.
say it's just due to your drunken states, You don't get very far without being like approached by some guards who ask you if you're all right. If there's anything you need.
Do you know where the black market is?
They seem taken aback. They say, this isn't Rydal. Sir Salazan, we don't. Oh, I don't. I'm not aware of.
Salazan.
I'm not aware of a black market, as you put it, inside of Stormhaven. And if there were, I would generally recommend that such an esteemed person as yourself and Lady Roston stay away from such a foul place.
Called you a lady. And me, sir.
I am a fucking lady.
I'm definitely no sir.
What about a normal market with a dark leaning?
Just dark
Imagine
inclinations.
a dark
Not,
market.
it's kind of a gray market.
Most of the shops in the marketplace, they do close around sunset or 8 p.m. So those will be closed for the night.
This place sucks.
If there's something you need urgently, we will try to procure it for you while you sleep, and we will place it in your room in the morning.
Oh man. What kind of vase do we want? Let's get something real. What would she just hate? This is out of character, but this is what Slizik would get. Trying to be nice.
Just like, how about like a classical vase that's like way too much nudity on it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just super nude. Like some Greek shit.
So I'm assuming you described this to me sort of like...
Yeah, you know, just lots of people naked fucking on a vase pottery. You know the deal.
Well, we certainly don't have such
Something
a thing
real tasteful
here in the castle, but we can always inquire in the marketplace in the morning and see if a potter will make such an item for you.
If you can do this for me, I'll give you 5 gold. If you can buy it and write a note that says sorry from Slizik and place it on her bedside before she wakes up. Oh, I'll just be so happy.
Well, we will try our best.
Slizik and Aja.
And Aja.
No money is needed. I am happy to do this for yourself.
5 gold, my man. Think about it. On top
The
of all
more
this,
crews, the better.
Yes, exactly. That's how I know what it's tastes when there's lots of naked people.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate it. Well, that was easy.
And it must be done discreetly.
Yes, very discreetly, please.
I get the
But
feeling
you
that
are-
I walked
he
away
says-
for a couple
he's
minutes
like
and
this-
missed something
he's like, but
very
you-
important.
But you're putting your names on it.
Yes, of course. This is an apology gift.
But it can't be discreet if... Never
Oh,
mind.
no. Do it without waking her up, you know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yes, we will. we will endeavor to try our best.
All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back. Things you missed. Slizik and Aja are trying to buy a
Tasteful.
nudie vase for Onid to replace the one that was broken in her family home.
Oh
What?
my god. I walk away for 5 minutes to take a phone call, and what do you all do?
It's a nice gesture.
So you guys all go to bed for the night. Some of you take baths, some of you don't, based on personal preferences. But as you wake up, inside your room on it is a is a vase with a letter or a folded card in front of it that says, I believe your words were, it was you pronounced
Just
it.
sorry.
It was sorry, but like the Canadian pronunciation, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
but written out.
Oh, shit.
And then it
Yeah.
says, underneath that it says Aja and Slizik. And on this vase, they requested naked people fucking, but there is not that. It's just naked individuals in like poses, as it were, like classical Greek vase.
It's beautiful.
Great. Great.
It's beautiful. It's art.
Is it art?
Subjective.
Like by definition, yes.
Just because you make a statue doesn't make it art.
Sure.
All right, so
It's not a statue, it's a vase.
you guys
All right.
are roused awake by soft knocks on your door, alerting you that Queen Anastasia and Sir Alaric would like to talk to you in a situation room.
Is it called the Situation Room?
I mean, we can call it that. It's war planning. I don't know what you
That's
would want to
fucking
call
awesome. It sounds like a Fox News kind of like sketch.
I mean, situation room's actual thing. Like, there's one in the White House. Like, that's where they go to do, like...
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's where they conducted the raid of Osama bin Laden, in the Situation Room.
Ooh.
So, like, that's an actual thing.
Badass.
Yeah, so... So you guys are sort of guided there. They give you time to sort of dress, get a quick bite to eat. No alcohol this early in the morning, but there are like juices and water as well. So you guys feel refreshed. Got some clean clothes. They don't give any to Slizik, obviously, but the rest of you got some clean clothes to wear, and you are guided to a room with like a reinforced door, and you knock and you are let inside. Inside you see Anna and Alaric talking about certain topics. Doors opened by Leave for you, who is looking very apologetic, especially towards Alistair, but doesn't say anything. And Alaric and Anna are talking about a number of things, mainly recruiting and training people for the Stormhaven armies, and how to form an alliance with other city-states. And then... Am I saying funny things, or are you getting funny messages?
No, it's in the Discord. I sent the exact piece of pottery I'd like.
Well, it's not quite that, but...
Y'all are the fucking worst.
What is going on? What's hanging off him?
I don't know, but it's not quite that. So they talk about how you sort of overhear this as you approach. They're talking about how a number of Stormhavenites have enlisted in the army due to Anna's speech, and a certain they cited the words of a certain, they described him as a certain bearded, portly fellow, whose words had a profound impact on a number of people as the reason they signed up.
Nice.
Is that a bad thing?
No, that was Alistair's speech at the beginning. He tried to rouse the people against Norath, and he seems to be somewhat successful based on their conversation.
Tara is asking if that's a bad thing to Alaric and Anna.
Oh, no, it's just logistics mainly. Sorry, Alaric say, no, it's just it's mainly logistics. I mean, we expected some, like a lot of people to sign up, obviously, but not this many. But it's good. It's patriotic individuals. But just the sheer number is something we need to discuss, how to deal with them, how to get them trained adequately in time, that sort of thing.
I sense a gig.
And he says, but enough about that. I believe you are due for some compensation for your efforts yesterday, as promised. Leave, if you will. And she steps forward and hands each of you a sack of gold. Inside it is 200 gold.
Ooh.
This would be the rest of the 1,000 you were promised. When she
That'll
gets
more than pay for the bait.
when she gets to Tara, she hands it to you, and then she politely goes,
Well, I'll take the gold and I'll look at her for a moment with like a raised eyebrow and say, "Oh, right, right." I'll reach into my bag and pull out the still neatly folded dress.
and she says, Lee will say thank you. And she'll take it, and she'll hold it in her hand, and she'll walk back into the corner where she was located previously.
As she turns away, Tara sort of like makes a face at her and like mutters something in Elven, like a clearly, well, nobody can hear it, but it's a mocking voice.
Okay. I mean, you should be careful because a lot of party members. I don't know if a lot of parties, but Elvish is a popular language. If you're going to be swearing or insulting people, and that,
It's under your breath.
be aware. Okay, so they don't comment on that, but
I suggest swearing in Infernal instead. It's much more.
Yeah.
But so Alaric and Anna are discussing things, and they sort of turn to you guys after you've been presented with this gold, and they say, we can't thank you enough for what you've done for us and for the city of Stormhaven. But we have, I hate to say, but we have further need of you. That is, if you're willing.
What would you have us do?
So, with Nora's use of these new weapons is troubling to us, and we don't know if we have the. We don't know if Stormhaven alone has the strength of arms necessary to defeat their armies. As such, we need to ally ourselves with as many city-states as possible in order to check Norath and defeat their forces in battle and save the city of Bryn. Due to our positions, Anna obviously is queen. Myself as recently appointed Field Marshal of Stormhaven's armies. We can't exactly leave the city to travel, and we were wondering if you would undertake that task as emissaries of Stormhaven.
Where do you want us to go?
Well, eventually, hopefully, all of the city-states, just as many as possible, all of them, would be best.
Tara kind of cringes.
I would recommend if North is using these new weapons, they got the supplies from somewhere. My guess would be Rydal. There's a saying, if it exists, you can find it and you can buy it in Rydal. So there might be some sort of clues there where they got these weapons. After that, I'm not really certain. But what say you?
How would you have us? How will we communicate with you about what we discover and what places may make for strong allies?
So he would say, I was planning on communicating with you all through the use of the sending spell, just every morning, contacting someone you designate, just to sort of get a sit rep, to update us on information, on both on our end and yours. That was our plan as far as communications go. As far as transportation, we were prepared to prepare a cart for you, made made in accordance to someone befitting your station, if you accept the position. Sort of has Stormhaven livery on it. It's well protected, that sort of thing. And as Stormhaven emissaries, it would be customary as well to bestow upon you an item, a mithril item as well.
Sorry.
So Anand is going to look at the rest of them and kind of inquiringly and say, I think this is something we should do.
He says, you don't, well, he says, you don't have to make a decision right now. If you want, I know some of you are religious types, you can go to the High Temple, it's been cleared out, or another one you prefer. Pray there, think about it, ask for guidance, that sort of thing.
Should we mention the whole temple, like what we figured out there? Didn't we have a question for him? Or does he already know all that?
It doesn't look like he's aware or hasn't mentioned it.
I will. Perhaps one of the brainier types could fill in the gaps here, but from what I can tell, either Norath or some other powerful group has infiltrated the nearby temple, and they managed to switch out the high priest with a sort of somewhat powerful undead, not your average skeleton, and basically had it rigged so that once their agents were caught, their bodies would decompose. And they're under, some sort of curse like that. Do you have any idea who, beside Norath, who is the obvious kind of choice, prime suspect at the moment, have you heard of anyone else that might have caused such a thing, that would have some reason to do this?
He says, well, if it is North, I was troubling that they would resort to foul necromancy in order to accomplish their goals. The only other city that comes to mind is Odessa.
What the fuck? 1 second.
He says the only city or I can think of that has spellcasters required to, or who would even know of such magics, would be Odessa. But if someone does know it there, they wouldn't practice it openly. But this is troubling, troubling indeed. As he's sort of taking the information, you explain what happened to him, you begin to hear a commotion outside the door.
Oh. Well, everyone's distracted.
Make a perception check.
All right. I'm not good at these. Yeah, that's about right.
Man, okay, Aja is the only one.
I
Here's this.
cannot roll for crap.
You hear outside. You hear sort of gruff voices of guards crying out in alarm, and you hear them saying like, "To arms! To arms! To arms! Protect the queen!"
Small out.
And one of them, you hear banging on the door, and leave. You see, like, if you were looking at her, you would see her like almost sort of disappear, but she's, and then like reappear next to the door, and she has a dagger in her hand, and then she opens the door, enough for one person to get through, and then closes it behind him. And one person comes through. It's a guard, and he hastily salutes, and Alaric looks at him and says, "Report." He says, yes, sir. He says, there are reports of undead side in the cemetery.
Oh boy.
Right.
Sounds like a...
And as well as, well, something quite strange surrounding the city.
Use your words, lad. What does that mean?
I don't, just look. And there's a window in this room.
I'll look out.
Going to look.
Me too.
All right. So you mentioned surrounding the city. So you look, thanks to your vantage point, you can see sort of outside the city, but it's still quite far away. Make a perception check again. This is sight-based.
All right. Come on, baby.
Cool.
The big 12.
Oh dear lord. So Slizzik, you can
Oh
see
my
something.
god!
Slizzik, you can see something, but it's very faint. And then
Sure.
it's weird. It looks like something is in fact surrounding the city, like a mirage sort of thing. But it looks like magic-y stuff, so you're not really good at that.
There's some kind of magic-y stuff.
I mean, you can point out to your party members and ask if they know more.
Definitely do.
All right, so the people who are... that's everyone but Slizzik, wow. Okay. So everyone else but Slizzik, once he points it out, you can see this... you can't see all of it, but it seems to be, based on your viewpoint, because there's only a single window in this room, you see this, something is encompassing the city. It looks like a... Well, let's make an Arcana check.
Oh, now I can roll.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Man, fat 20s. Okay. Onid and Alistair. This looks like a magic circle, but one cast on a massive scale. As it appears, just from what you can see, to surround the entire city.
Anand's gonna look at Alistair and be like, how is that even possible?
These are some horrifically powerful magics indeed.
I apologize. I had to take my headset off. What did we see exactly? Are they seeing
A
anyways?
big ass magic circle surrounding the city.
Okay.
So, like, bad news bears. Real bad news bears.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, what? You magic-y types, what is this? What's happening?
Like you would basically get to pick some sort of creature that can't enter in or exit an area. Also, it's harder to hit things sometimes within them.
Yeah, to know more, you'd have to inspect this circle more closely, as in you'd have to be where it actually is.
Can I do a deception check to pretend like I see what it is?
I'm sure. I generally don't allow rolls against the party, but yeah, you're like, magic circle. I've heard about those. Yeah, they do stuff, magic stuff.
Look at that.
But
Well,
so as you sort of see Alaric sees it too, and he turns to the guard. He says, take a detachment of knights and clerics, ones who have been vouched for. Take them to the graveyard to keep the undead at bay, and begin purifying them if you can.
where do you want us? Is an attack imminent? Imminent,
Says, I
rather?
don't know. He says, but the best thing to do would be to investigate this as soon as possible. And you see him like, as it were, suiting up. He says, get a detachment of guards to protect the queen alongside yourself. And then she nods. And then as like Alaric's suiting up, as it were, another sort of frantic pounding on the door occurs.
I'll open it this time and just keep my body in the way and peek
All
who
right.
it is.
You see that it is Donovan Roth, that individual who was that you first met when you first came to Castle Dauntless, who was sort of arguing with Alaric.
Advisor.
The
Yeah.
jerk ass.
He's one of the nobles here. Yeah. But he's just like breathlessly saying, Undead in the castle.
Where? Everywhere.
He says in the basement.
Was there a
Okay.
crypt?
Does he seem? I've never really trusted him. Does he seem like he's trying
Insight.
to lead us into?
Insight. You can't tell. None of you guys can't tell. He seems, he's out of breath. He obviously ran here. That he's putting on. He's a very good actor. But he seems to be telling the truth.
How could they have gotten there? Is there a crypt?
He says, I don't know. It never. It's been. They says they emerged from an unused part of the castle. It's been sort of sealed off.
My man,
Lovely.
lead the way.
He says, I'm not a fighter,
Well,
but I can get some guards who can lead you.
yeah, let's do it.
And then, so you guys make to leave. Alaric is going with you. It's quite clear because he wants to eliminate this threat inside the castle. And he once again says,
Where is Leave?
Leave is like, you don't see her anymore.
Okay. Anand is going to look at Alaric and just straight up be like, do you trust this man with your sister's life?
He looks at Donovan and says, he would say, the only one I want in this room with Anna is Leave.
No guards. This could be a distraction.
He says, we'll post them outside the door.
You should guard beneath the window as well. But
He says,
then yes,
oh, well,
you will be coming with us.
he says, yes, the window is fortified. It will... He says the wall around it will break before the window will. Let's put it that way.
All right.
That is extremely reassuring. Nonetheless, this man is leaving the room.
Yes, everyone is leaving this room except for the queen and Leave.
And Invisaleave. Okay, cool.
Let's fucking hustle down there.
I guess we'll go either walk into a trap or fuck some shit up, or possibly.
Hooray!
And so you guys are leaving this room with everyone. You see a group of guards come up and just like array themselves in ranks in front of the door, like at the ready.
Anand is a row 2 to 3 fighter, so you know what? She's staying toward the back.
That's fine. We can't.
I'm
we can't
definitely up front.
All right. So you guys are led down the stairs to this sort of
God damn it!
it's a sort of cordoned off, sectioned off, unused part of the castle as far as you guys can tell, just based on the level of dust and cobwebs here. If anyone's played Skyrim and has been in Solitude and
Oh yeah.
done the Wolf Queen quest, it's like that area of the castle. It's like no one goes there. But you see that the door leading to this area is like ajar, and there's like black blood like splattered on the floor. It's like when I say door is ajar, I mean like it's knocked open, like off its hinges, or almost off its hinges. And then you see like a heavily wounded guard being tended to by a cleric, and then you see a bunch of other guards like in a semicircle surrounding this door, with like weapons drawn and pointed towards it. And then at sort of their feet, you see this corpse, but it's a corpse, but also not a corpse. It's distorted in some way.
It's what, sir?
Distorted is changed in some way. It's not what you would
What's
if it is a
wrong
corpse of
with it?
if it's a corpse of some sort of humanoid, it's not a humanoid you recognize. Let's put it that way. Making, I guess, identifying an undead creature would be Arcana, because it's kind of magic-y to do it. So if you want to identify this with a creature, just give me an Arcana check, please. Not with those rolls. Slizik,
What are these?
my man, with the +0. Okay, Slizik. You've heard tales of creatures on like unnamed, unknown like islands, like lonely, solitary islands out at sea, where ships or sailors will drop anchor there and venture ashore for to replenish supplies, wood, water, food, that sort of thing. And
Sure.
you remember on one sort of island that there was a rumor, a story that when they came upon it, all the water that they drew was foul tasting and made the sailors sick. There was no life, as far as you could tell. As far as they could tell on the island, there were even no birds chirping. The trees were dead and sort of wizened, like gray trunks, and there was sort of a massive hill in the middle of the island. And when they were investigating it, they fought these strange creatures that seemed to rise up from the ground when they entered what they later recognized to be a burial mound. And they were very vicious.
You cut out, I think.
Sorry, I just stopped talking. They were very vicious.
Oh, it's all good.
If they downed a few sailors and immediately began consuming their bodies.
Sure.
They referred to them as ghouls.
I've seen these things like before. I've at least heard of them, anyways. These are some ghouls, unfortunate undead creatures. Best be wary. And saying that, I'll just kind of go into the next room.
So, are you guys following the emboldened Slizik?
Yeah.
Carefully.
All right. So you guys make your way into the room. You see signs of like haphazard / forced passage, like something, perhaps the corpse of the ghoul that came up here was just tearing through this room, like running at full speed, knocking things over. There's dust still floating about in the air from where it was disturbed. And then you see a few more bodies scattered about, as well as a body of a knight. He sort of went down fighting, looks like, against some of these foul creatures, and one of them got by him.
Are there any noises coming from any of the like hallways or anything? Anything ghoulish?
You don't hear anything right now. But you notice that most of this, I shouldn't have laughed because it's not funny, but most of the knight's face looks like it's been chewed off.
Sure.
As well, he's missing an arm that's somewhere, but you can't figure out where it is. But further in, you proceed further and cautiously. You see another door that's in a sort of a dark corner of the room, a recessed part of the room. This one looks more sort of reinforced than the one that was battered off its hinges. This is still flung open, but the door remained on its hinges. It's just open, and you're looking in to past the door. You see steps, stone steps leading down into darkness.
I will. God damn.
We hear the music now.
Yeah, I will head down, I suppose.
So you're headed down into the darkness. Does anyone here not have dark vision?
I don't think I do.
I don't.
I think it's everyone. It's Tara and Anand are the ones that should have dark vision, right?
That's about right. I don't think Dragonmore can get it.
Okay, so you get about 10 feet down these stairs, and then it's just pitch black.
Guys, I can't see shit.
Does anyone actually know light? Well, Alaric will say, let's...
Anyone have a torch?
He says, let's, it's like most of us here can't see in the dark, so let's shine a bit. Let's illuminate our surroundings a bit. And he has like his palm against a glow, and then he just has it open, and he's walking with you guys.
All right, let's continue on.
And then as you're sort of walking down, you're going. It's taken a while. You're going pretty far down. You don't know how far into the belly of this castle, as it were. And then Alaric will comment. He's like, I never knew this sort of place existed. This is very strange.
How'd you not know?
Well,
Hello. I'm back.
Okay.
So Discord fucked up. So you guys are you found a ghoul corpse that was surrounded by guards. You ventured further into this secluded area or unused portion of the castle. Found another door that led, were stairs that led down. You're on those stairs now, but you only got about 10 feet before it's pitch black. Alaric casts a light on his palm and has it open for those who cannot see normally.
Holland can see just fine.
But also, I can send Harold over in front of us. I can cast light on him and see through his eyes.
Sorry, where are we?
So you're
We're-
currently descending down a staircase in the basement of the Castle Dauntless. Along the way, you found corpses of ghouls and some knights that died fighting them.
That's real spooky.
I need to get some
So
music going
is
for this.
is there anything like around on the floor, like a stone or a pebble or a piece of debris or something like?
This is like the stonework is rough hewn, but you don't see any, just except for the dust that was disturbed, like through creatures passing through, most notably probably those ghouls. You don't see any like debris or anything. You do see like scratch marks on the walls from where the ghoul's claws sort of caught the stone as it was running up here.
Okay, Anand is going to take a copper out of her pocket, cast light on it, and toss it down the stairs so that the people who don't have super dark vision can see.
All right, you do see it. You throw it down. It sort of bounces down the stairs, clink, 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 and it rests on a sort of landing, and there seems to be a bend in the staircase. It's going down a different way, as it were.
All right. I cast light on Harold and I warg into him.
All right, so you got a number of beacons here. There's light around you due to Alaric. There's a light further down that you guys can see. There doesn't look to be any ghoulish figures, and you don't see or hear anything so far. Harold gets down. He's noting now that the staircase is like this, if I can draw it correctly, which is in 3D. So probably not, but we'll see. So basically, you guys are going down. You're all right here. Yay! And you're going down this staircase, which is like more like this. And then there'll be like a landing sort of thing. And then the stairs will go down further. This is horrible drawing. That makes sense. So basically, it's a square staircase that's like turning in on itself. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a landing, and then yeah, exactly.
And then after it goes there, then it'll go down this way, and then it'll go down. You get the picture.
Yeah.
So it's a square spiral staircase.
Yes, that's the word the sequence of words I was trying to say.
Cool.
I'll send Harold on down.
Harold gets further down. You guys have made some progress in descending this staircase. Gets down, sees another set of doors. These even more heavily reinforced than before, and it looks like they're just like barely open for like one person to get through.
Yeah, Anand will just keep throwing the penny down the stairs for as many turns as they have to go, because she can see, but
Harold stops at this. Yeah, so you hear clink, 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 and then you walk some more to pick it up. Clink, clink, clink. You're sort of following this light, but Harold stops at the doorway until you get back into his range of communication with him. And now looking through his eyes, you see he's like peeking around the semi-open, the slightly ajar door. Double doors looking in, and it looks like there's some sort of like study or something down here. It doesn't match the staircase at all.
Oh wait, can we go back to my question of how he didn't know this place was here? I forgot.
Oh yeah, he says, Castle Dauntless is quite large. I left Stormhaven quite early in my life, didn't have time to explore it fully.
But this place looks like it hasn't been like seen use in years, right? Like it was all cobwebby and nasty?
Yeah.
Or is that just me? Okay. Did no one know this was here, do you think? I mean, this hasn't been used in years.
I don't know.
So are we
Strange.
making our way to the doorway?
Yes. That is what is at the bottom of the staircase.
Alright, Anand is going to kind of position herself so that she's covered by the door, like from anything that might be inside, and she's going to toss the lit copper inside the room so that they can see what's happening.
All right. So the light reflects a number of things. You see, it's a small to medium sized room. There's a sort of carpet running down the middle, but the rest of it is stone, cut stone, as are the walls. At the end of the carpet, that's sort of faded a little bit, worn at the edges, there's a door that is shut. Unlike the rest you've come across, the door looks slightly different than the ones you've encountered so far. There are numerous tables and bookcases here. The bookcases sort of reach to the ceiling. There's a number of what looks like old dusty tomes on them. There's a sort of like wheelie, laddery thing that you see in like the libraries to get around the bookcases. On the tables, you see a number of like apparati that those familiar with alchemy wouldn't recognize as alchemist tools. You see some parchments on some tables as well, and some vials and jars, beakers, flasks, that sort of thing. It looks like your stereotypical study.
Is there any evidence of ghoul damage?
So you don't see that.
Has anything been gone through or rummaged about?
So you do notice that that the carpet has like some dirty footprints on it.
Perhaps someone should detect magic?
I'm on it.
Shut up, Slizik.
Seriously. Anand literally just makes the noise that I made goes.
I'm going to need about 11 minutes.
Well, I guess we can. Do I hear anything like further down?
It's very, very strange. Just you don't need to give me a perception roll because it's very strange.
Okay.
You hear your party members breathing, like, just the faint breathing of that. You hear like movement, that sort of thing, rustling, clinking of armor. You don't hear anything past this door though. At the far end. Not the one where you came from, but the far end. This door looks strange.
Okay.
Strange as in it looks like completely smooth. You don't see a handle or anything anywhere.
Mm.
Or even a seam. This is like a slab of metal.
Does anyone know how to check for traps?
I have a keen eye.
Give it a shot.
All right, I'll take a look around for that.
All right, you don't. Then give me an investigation check. Where are you searching?
All right, so we're in this study just around.
I don't know that we've gone in yet. Have we gone in?
That's up to you guys. Have you gone in?
I probably would have, sure.
Yeah, I'll go in.
There's a lot of
I'll
books
do
here.
it.
There's a lot of books here. Alistair. You don't see any obvious traps. No tripwires, no pressure plates, no bear traps, that sort of thing.
Alright, Anand's gonna look around too because she is highly suspicious. Like, where did these ghouls come from if there's only one place they could have come? Except she rolls even worse.
You are having a rough,
I am
rough go
having
of it tonight.
There was that one
Roll
good
20
roll.
does
That one good roll, she got
not love
20.
me. Roll 20 is not my friend tonight at all.
So yeah, you don't pick up anything else. There's a lot, like I said, you see, dear Lord, you guys are not good
no
at rolling
passive
tonight.
investigation.
I'm sorry, what?
It's no passive investigation.
I don't think passive investigation is a thing because investigation is actively looking for stuff. There's
Well,
passive perception,
no, like,
which is like your general
well,
awareness of your surroundings.
well, we talked about the observant feat and like
Yeah.
passive investigation being like a because I think we had that discussion because otherwise I would have a plus 11 to investigation.
Yeah, so the +5 bonus is to your passive perception score. I don't think there's a passive investigation score. I think that just says investigation. Like, it's a whole different thing.
Okay.
Because investigation is like, you're like digging in. You're like studying something.
Okay,
Passive
so
perception
13.
also. Passive perception is a wisdom skill, and investigation is an int skill.
Yeah, but the observant feat gives me boosts my passive perception and
I think they word that poorly. They meant to say passive perception, comma, and investigation skill.
alright.
Because I've never heard of something called passive investigation.
Well, it says you have +5 bonus to your passive wisdom and passive intelligence investigation scores, but I'm pretty sure that's the only time it's mentioned in the book.
Yeah, so passive perception is mentioned a lot. Passive investigation isn't mentioned once. So I'm assuming there should have been a space there. Or not a space, but a comma.
So does he get a bonus to his investigation? Like more bonus?
Yeah, you get another +5 to that. So, yeah, so you still don't see any traps. This door is strange. Like I said, it's a slab of, like, metal. Mithril. No seam. No knob. But it's, like, in the position where a door would be, because obviously at the end of this carpet. On the carpet are muddy footprints, or dirty footprints, rather. These seem to match, vaguely humanoid, seem to match a barefoot individual, perhaps the feet of a ghoul that was hightailing it out of here. They seem to have come from this door. That's not a door.
Almond's gonna walk up and press on the door, just gently, like feeling along the seams for anything, or if it like is a pressure thing. Like if you press on it, is it gonna do a slide or something?
Nothing happens.
I wanna check around these books and see what sort of material there is.
All right, give me another investigation score, sir. Or
Okay.
check, sir. Oh, this is much better. Okay. So, where are you looking on these bookcases? What are you looking for specifically?
Anything dealing with this sort of like necromantic magic, or books that appear to be like particularly old and have that kind of look of those giant books that are in the libraries, like reference section that you're not allowed to check out.
Yeah, so you're looking through, you see this library is like, is not like the one that you were familiar with in Odessa. It's like a collection of obscure, like, forbidden works written in all number of languages, some lost to time, some unsavory. And you're looking through them, and there's stuff in there about a lot of stuff's about the betrayer. It's a in fact, you know it's a heretical work because it actually mentions her by name in it, which you never do ever. It mentions her by name Eris, which is a no-no, big no-no. Some of these books do that. Others are talking about dragons, the types of dragons, famous dragons that were active in the war, where they might be located now. A lot of books are focused on longevity, improving your lifespan by improving your health or via magic. And then you come across one book that catches your eye because it's vaguely familiar to you. For some reason, if books had an aura, this definitely would be that. Imagine a dark bound book. And the leather binding on it is rather different than everything else. The rest of the books are around it, sort of stitched in around the book, and it's massive. You need two hands to sort of pull it out from the shelf, and you plop it onto a nearby table. Dust flies everywhere, and you open it up, and it's written in, let's see, would you understand this? It is written in a language you do not recognize.
Do I recognize it?
You do. It is infernal.
Oh, cool! What's it say?
So the
Never change my languages.
the title is very simple, but it seems to be it says on it the case for necromancy.
Well, this is all written in Infernal. It's called The Case for Necromancy.
Ooh.
So we may have found what we need. Unfortunately, unless you have a spell to read it, I'm not sure if anyone can but me.
I can cast comprehend languages as a ritual, but as of right now, I don't have it.
Perhaps we should wait on that. But I think this book is going to be something worth taking out of here.
I will also take any of the books I found interesting.
Alaric is looking very distressed.
And Anand is just going to kind of turn to him and put a hand on his shoulder and be like, we need to understand the enemy we're facing.
He responds in the affirmative to you on it in Infernal.
What?
But he switches back. But he switches back to common, and he says, "But that doesn't mean I have to like it, especially when it's in the castle I grew up in, my home."
Alaric said
Her
that?
eyes go wide, and she speaks. She says to him in Infernal. She just kind of looks at him, and she's like, "You are a man of many secrets, aren't you?" But she says it in Infernal, so it sounds.
He says it hurts the ears. Don't. Infernal's it's like the gnashing of teeth. It's like nails on chalkboard. It doesn't sound good.
Beautiful. Good job, everyone.
He's like I can speak. It doesn't mean that I was forced to learn it.
I just want you to know that the noise that I just made woke my dog up and
Sure.
made her come over.
Come here, check on you, make sure you're okay.
Are you okay?
But he says we all have secrets, things about our past we don't reveal to anyone. But all of these works, as far as I can see, are heretical.
Well, apparently was more going on in Stormhaven at some point than any of us ever knew.
Hmm.
Nonetheless, all things considered, I think it's time to learn.
Yes, I mean,
And with little time to waste, as I suspect that magic circle is meant to keep us and everyone else in this city inside. And that could end very poorly if our dreams are accurate.
Hmm.
let's phone back up and recount our findings.
You just keep going.
We can't keep going. There's a big ass mithril door in our way.
Oh, I have the lockpick right here. I kick it.
Do you kick it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, roll an attack.
Okay.
Just a damage. Must be an unarmed attack.
What's up, sir?
Must be an unarmed attack.
It's just a D4 plus strength.
Yeah. I think so.
It's gonna be +5. That's 9 damage.
You wind up to kick this door, and as soon as you kick it, you are repelled away from it.
Oof.
You go tumbling back, and you take 9 points of damage.
Okay.
Well, that was interesting.
My leg isn't the key. I take it back.
Maybe I ought to cast detect magic, and we'll
Perhaps.
wait it out. It's going to take 10 minutes.
All right, I'll see what else is in this book of note as you.
Yeah, and I'll ritual cast detect magic.
All right.
And Anand's gonna go through the table of contents. Basically.
Well, there's not a table of contents. It's like a treatise, is what it is, but not really a table of contents. It's like an essay, and as you're reading it, you do find it getting more and more and more heretical. So basically, he's saying something like, essentially his points are necromancy has long been associated with evil due to Eris, who he once again refers to by name, using it, being the first one on record as using it, and her using it to summon undead armies to battle against the good people of Avarice. But then he goes on to say, but how can it be evil if spells like Revivify and Raise Dead and Spare the Dying are also classified as necromancy? He says, as such, we shouldn't we shouldn't run away from the study of necromancy. We shouldn't ban it. We shouldn't forbid it. Instead, we should study it more, because it is. He even argues that at the very least, it's a neutral thing or even a good thing, despite what people may think of its origins.
Is there an author on this anywhere?
It says it doesn't have an author's name. It just says a enthusiast of the arcane.
Well, that's unhelpful. Anand is going to quietly relay all of this to Alaric, as well as the fact that there's no author.
Are you doing what language are you doing it in?
Well, he did tell her not to speak Infernal, and she's not going to read the text aloud in Infernal because you just don't read books
And it
aloud.
it hurts your eyes to just look at it for too long or to focus on certain words.
Bad language.
So she's going to say it in common, but in a low voice because Alistair needs to concentrate.
He does this sing-song voice to you and says, "Celestial is fine too."
Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah, she switches to that and gets much more detailed into what she's reading, and just is basically relaying all of this to him. Like, this is what this person is. This is what this is all about, and this it's all blasphemy. And like, how old does this book look?
Let's see. I'll just do a history check, I think. Oh, damn. Okay, so based on the language used, like in the progression of written language, some of the terms and idioms he uses fell out of popular use, about about 500 years ago.
So she will relay that as well, and look at Alaric, and this is all still in Celestial, and ask him who in the family line could possibly have had this particular interest in the arcane.
He says, "I don't know. Stormhaven's always been sort of more of a divine magic city rather than arcane. That being such, we would never condone or the use of certain necromantic texts. Spells, especially those that deal with undeath and undead.
Well, someone certainly did.
Someone seems interested in that, certainly.
Would I be able to see if I know anything about that?
Yeah, so they're discussing this stuff. The rest of you are just looking around at books.
I do speak Celestial.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So they're talking to each other,
Yes.
and you overhear it, but you're concentrating on your spell right now. So you take in this information, but you can't really respond.
Okay.
Slizik's looking around. He starts poking around some of these flasks because there's some strange liquids inside of them.
And Anand just basically looks up from the book and is immediately like, "Do not touch that!" Like he's a naughty child.
All right. Well, we'll mitigate that when he comes back. So while you're discussing Alistair, your detect magic goes off. You can now sense magic energy around you. The first things you notice are your party members, as well as Alaric. This door is also giving off a magic-y vibe. And then there is another sort of very faint sense you get from one of these desks in the room.
Okay, I want to check on that desk for sure. Or okay, yeah, I want to see about this desk. I want to be careful and see if it maybe the drawer might be trapped somehow.
All right, yeah. Give me an investigation check. All right, yeah. So it's coming from a drawer, and you open this drawer up. You check for traps first. There's no Slizik. Sorry, while you're back, really quick, I had you sort of inspecting these sort of vials and liquids that were inside of them to see
Sounds like me.
to see if any of them were potable.
Sure.
But Alistair, there's no trip wires or anything, so you open this desk up. A drawer where you get this magical energy from, as it's you still detect it there. You're looking at this drawer. Drawer's empty. I mean, you sense it coming from this drawer, but it's not like there's anything in here.
I feel around for anything invisible.
So I'll give you this with your investigation score. You don't feel anything invisible, but your finger does catch on something as you're sort of inspecting around the drawer, and as soon as you sort of pull on it, the base of the drawer sort of pops open, and you see a book inside there.
Oh, another book here.
I will. Can I read the book? Can I see the title?
Anand's gonna come and
It is
look over
not
his
titled, but as soon as you touch the book, you get a bad taste in your mouth when you touch this book.
Does it taste like finger?
Yeah.
It tastes coppery,
Oh,
metallic.
Coppery, like
that's blood. That's definitely a blood taste. Yep, evil book.
And when you open it, you do see that it is written in blood.
Great. Anand is going to take a piece of her cloak and use that to touch the book because
What?
what language is it written in?
Yeah. What?
Like, can any of us
It
understand?
is written in a. Okay, so
Please say draconic.
it is
Okay,
written.
I will say before you say I remember when I looked at my languages. I remembered you told me like that I knew more language than I should, and you added some.
You know a bunch
I
based on
forgot. Yeah, I forgot to change that, so I just now, after you did the whole infernal thing, I changed it, the dwarvish to abyssal,
Okay.
just so that there's no fuckery
Okay.
in case it becomes relevant.
So it's written in a number of languages. Looking through it, this book does not make any sense. Like, just from a narrative or chronological or any sort of standpoint, as far as you can tell, it appears to be a journal because it's written in the first person, and the things you do pick up on it seem to indicate it as such, but it's just jumbled and incoherent, and it takes some study to get used to there might be a method to this madness, but it would take some time. The languages you see that you recognize that it is written in are common, abyssal, elven, draconic, celestial. You also see text that matches the book that Anna is reading from, and you see some blocky sort of characters that you would recognize as dwarvish, but you can't read.
All right. This appears to be a strange hodgepodge of a journal from a polyglot, written in blood.
Let's take that for later investigation.
But just
We are on
quickly flipping through, Alistair, you get about halfway, and then like where the book would open perfectly halfway, double, sort of on both pages, and like all the languages before you there's one phrase. And it's all in all his languages, just jumbled, different fonts, not in any sort of like order, just spread out all throughout the page. It just says time is running out, time is running out, time is running out, time is running out.
Oh,
So does this book look as old as the other book, or does it look newer than
This
the
looks
other?
newer. Maybe a couple years, decade-y. Like the pages are beginning to yellow, but it's not like it's not too bad.
Well, That bodes ill.
What magic did I detect on the door? What kind of magic?
Like enchantment, I think. You very clearly identify it as a magic door, the kind that would need a special key or password to enter.
I suppose we need to go up and report our findings.
Yes, and see what's happening above. This is not good.
Sit back.
I'll do the same tactic with Harold with the light, leading the scouting.
Throwing pennies up the stairs. Throwing pennies up the stairs. Anand will take the terrible blood book and the necromancy. As I don't know what Alistair's taking.
Yeah, all that basically every book that I found interesting that you mentioned.
Okay, cool. So
Alaric seems very hesitant to leave this room, especially with these books that are not great, not good books. But you guys,
we'll bar the entry to this passage. Heresy may be the least of our worries at the moment.
he says, "Do you think more ghouls will come from this place?"
Well, I think that if they're coming from somewhere, it's clearly through that door, but unless you know how to open it.
We'd stand guard. I have no idea what's going on outside.
I don't want people in this room.
Then we bar it.
And as you're talking, you notice something. The mithril door behind you guys seems to grow transparent, whereas it has a metallic sheen to it. Is now like looking in through a dirty glass, and from that outside you just see something just hauling ass towards you. It is a figure with like grotesque body proportions, a long tongue lolling behind it, razor sharp teeth, slightly elvish ears, massive forearms with claws. He sort of just runs through this transparent looking door and is rapidly approaching you guys.
Can I bonk him?
Eldritch Blast!
And with that, we will end the session.
All right.
Alright, great. So we've got some creepy books. We're about to fight a creepy thing.
Yep.
Everything is terrible.
It looks like a ghoul. I'll just put like what you guys have seen so far as a ghoul.
Okay.
And
Gonna Eldritch Blast it.
yeah, we'll roll initiative next session and get all that done. But I'm gonna end the stream now, but I'll stay around for some table talk. See if I had any viewers. I'll see you guys next week. The session will also be uploaded to YouTube for your viewing pleasure later.